Alright guys, so today we're gonna have Nick Phillips, Frank Martinez, and Michael Rhodes. We're gonna be talking about political correctness, and also we are gonna be talking about how comedians should use the internet. You know, for example, many of you are probably fans of XXXTentacion, and the only reason why I'm mentioning him is because he made it to the 100 hot songs in the Billboard chart. Yes, and all because he had about 90 million views in one freaking week, and all through the internet. You know, so that's how cool it is to put your art now in the internet, you know, because you don't need no record deal, the radio doesn't have to play your music. And I asked all the comedians, you know, about how we can use the internet for our own gain, you know. So stay tuned, check it out guys, this is what we got for you. All right, Frank, thank you for being with us. Tell us, you know, why is it important for comedians to be on social media?
Well, I definitely think that the game itself is changing, you know. I personally don't think you can make it just doing stand-up anymore. I would like to just do stand-up, but it's one of those things where social media is literally in our hands. At any phone, you can get everything you need. So if you can put your product right in someone's hands at any time they want it, that's usually going to help boost anything that you're doing. I find that, you know, people I followed before I really started doing comedy, that's what it was. You know, they were putting out videos every week. They're like, oh, you can get my products here, you can do this here. Ease of access is what's changing the game. Is, oh, what, you do stand-up? Can I watch your clip right now? Yeah, you can on my YouTube channel. Or I do a Vine channel. Or I do a vlog. Anything that people can just instant gratification has kind of become the name of the game with cell phones. So having an edge up on that is what's going to kind of at least help you, so that way you're getting people to your stand-up shows so people know who you are, and creating a real personality. People want to connect with you, hence why we have people like Joe Rogan's doing a killer show of doing it with his podcast. He's doing it like 3 times a week now. People can depend on him to put out a product, and he's going to be there. You know, YouTube stars are killing it right now. Shane Dawson, one of the first ones, just out there killing it still, because they can depend on him for a product, and they know him more than, I mean, some TV personalities, they know these YouTube stars. It's really amazing.
You got it. All right, Frank. Awesome. So, well, guys,
somebody help me.
When we were growing up, you know, Comedy Central was the only place where you could actually see some of the top comedians. And we still do. I mean, unfortunately, I cannot afford cable, so I don't have Comedy Central. But I have the internet, and I'm able to tune in and watch other comedians that are new, and they have not even made it to a Comedy Central special. So I asked the comedians about what they thought, you know, when it came down to being popular nowadays as a comedian. Is the internet right now as important as it was Comedy Central back in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, you know? Would it bring you the same exposure? That's what I'm saying. And that's why I also, in the beginning, I gave you an example of the young rapper XXXTentacion, so that you could see that if it works for him, for a rapper, you know, I'm hoping that he helps a lot of comedians that are not known, but are good at what they do, you know? And hopefully they know and find ways to use the internet as a tool to expose their art. So this is what they had to say.
I think 100%. I think getting yourself out in any way is going to help you. Honestly, I think people still love TV for what it is. I know I do. So I think that's what people get hung up on. But you have to realize exposure is the name of the game. Getting out there, what people can get to know you for. And I think the big difference is when you do it on cable, you're still really confined into a box, really. You know, you have to submit your jokes, they have to be approved, you have to film it a certain way. At least with YouTube, and it's very independent. We're allowed to express ourselves and, you know, film and editing and writing in many more ways than you would on a cable channel. So the freedom is there, but at the same time, it is always nice to have a Comedy Central credit. You know, right. I've been watching comedy since I was a kid, and Comedy Central was one of the first networks to really push comedy. I mean, it still really is.
Yes. Cool. But you're right when you say that one of the main reasons why people tune in to YouTube is because they want to get to know their comedian in a personal way. So when a comedian vlogs and posts about, you know, his shows and sometimes even about their struggles, is something that we were not able to see before. But now we connect in such a way through social media that I definitely make plans to go and see a comedian that I like, only because I've been hearing and seeing things that they post on their social media.
Oh yeah, 100%. I remember when I was in high school, Dane Cook was huge, and the way I heard about it is because everyone would go watch his special, and then they would talk about it, and then if you didn't know any of Dane Cook's jokes, you were kind of out of the loop. I don't think it's like that anymore. I think YouTube has changed that a lot. You know, people, I don't think get so jazzed up about one comedian as much. I mean, don't get me wrong, Kevin Hart's doing phenomenal and he's really it right now. But I think it's a little bit different with ease of access. Netflix producing specials like crazy, and it's awesome on a comedian standpoint. I love the amount of specials that are coming out specifically for this one network, and they're killing it. You're
right. I remember seeing documentaries when they say when comedy was booming, and I think they mentioned the 80s. and for a minute I was depressed. I said, shit, man, I guess we're not gonna get that.
I know.
But definitely we are in a whole different level now, I would say, right? You know?
Yeah, I definitely. The one thing I guess that kind of makes me sad is that I feel like live show isn't being portrayed to what it is, because when you're doing a special, when you're recording anything, it's produced. It's not an organic thing. And if I can encourage anyone to go watch live shows, even if it's at a small club, a big club, a theater, anything, because I guarantee that show is something you're going to remember forever. Experience the moment, because when you watch it on TV, you're getting it at a produced value, you know?
People used to say back in the 80s that that's when comedy was booming.
Yeah.
And now a lot of comedians are still looking at cable companies and as if that is the only way you can be recognized as a comedian or the only way to get exposure. But considering social media, what is the advice you have for those people that cannot get to have a show in one of those cable companies?
Well, create. Be active, execute, finish. I think the great thing about today's market is that there's so many opportunities to make stuff. The other great thing about today's market is that now, because you have all these opportunities, people don't take them. So now becoming like somebody who stands out in the pack just becomes finishing, making stuff. Just create, be active, make things, finish things, put them out. That's it. It's by just creating and executing, you're light years ahead of people, no matter what city they're in, no matter what show they have, just because you're being active. Everyone loves to see somebody who finishes.
Michael, when it comes to telling jokes on stage, you know, some people used to say, well, back in, like when you make fun of black people, you gotta make fun of white people. So when it comes to politics, would you make fun of both parties, or
absolutely? Okay. Neither one of those parties is. Both of them are looking at the other like step and fetch it. This is just the most ridiculous thing in the world. There's Hillary Clinton, and then there's Donald Trump, and then both of them are just terrible. And you know, people say to stay away from political and stay away from religion and stay away from race and stuff like that, but that is what makes the world. You know, politics and religion and race, that is what makes us up. And if we can't poke fun of ourselves and have fun laughing at ourselves, then we're not really happy people. You know, we might as well go to Russia and, you know, be in Siberia somewhere and walk around with those earth coats on, or whatever they call them. You know, eat bread and onions for the rest of our life.
Since you are open, I mean, let me rephrase that. Since it seems like you attack, you know, let's say both political parties, different races, do you get any negative feedback when you go and do shows?
Yeah, all the time. You know, somebody's always talking about something. You know, like I said, I take care of my disabled brother, and you know, and you know, I make jokes about that. You know, like, you know, when he was little and we went to sleepaway camp, and did nobody want to sleep with the special boy in their cabin? You know, who wants to sleep with the special boy? You know, bite guard and all that stuff. People come up, my son is retarded. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't know your son was mentally challenged. That's, you know, retarded is not a politically correct word for you to use. It's my son, I can do whatever I want to. Or, you know, talking about politics, and I had somebody try to key my car because I talked about Donald Trump, and yeah, people get crazy. They get ridiculous, yeah. But I don't care because you know I'm gonna say it anyway.
That's true. I mean, I look at it like that. I did a video against Donald Trump only because he made fun of handicapped people.
See?
And a lot of my friends, they didn't like it. And I had to tell them, not only I did it to defend, you know, the handicapped guys, it's also part of my job. I mean, I'm a comedian and I don't take neither one serious.
Exactly.
I can make fun of him and I can make fun of Hillary.
Exactly,
you know?
Exactly. She wears too many pantsuits. I think she's cornered the market on polyester. I swear to God, that's just ridiculous. Lane Bryant and Learners, that's all she chops at. And then Donald Trump, I don't know what the hell is going on with his hair. It's a hair plug or a toupee or a combination of both. Dude, let it go. Just shave your head bald. You'd be better. It's okay.
I think you look good.
I think he would look better than he does now.
Nick, now we just got another question for you. When you do comedy, let's say some people say, well, if I'm gonna make fun of a black person, I'm gonna make fun of white dudes, Chinese, all of them, right?
Yeah, right.
When it comes to politics, do you think we comedians should do the same, poke at both sides?
No, because I like people being divisive. That's a comedian is supposed to be polarizing. I want you to either love my comedy or hate my comedy. I don't want a fair weather fan. I don't want a fair weather person that doesn't like me. You need to be either on one end of the spectrum or the other. So I really dig it when somebody's divisive and they say, like, you know what? I don't like Republicans and here's blah 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 blah. Here's why. Or I don't like Democrats and here's like. I want to be behind a guy because when you watch somebody do stand up, you're rooting for them. You want to agree with this person, or you want to look at them like, dude, that's so weird. I don't do that. And that's what the funny comes from. It's tension and release constantly. So that's what needs to happen. So I enjoy it that way.
Hey, that's actually a sound effect we have here in the studio.
Just from being just poignant in that
because
moment.
you dropped the bomb.
Yeah, exactly. That's what that was for.
Oh,
that's awesome.
I hope you liked what you saw. Don't forget to subscribe. You know how we do it, baby. And thank you to all of those guys that had been subscribing in the past few weeks. Even though it is like maybe 2 or 3 a week, it is growing. Woo! So share the video if you like it. Once again, peace out.